Welcome back. Hello, everybody.
Hangout.
Hi.
Of CY Hangouts. We are stepping our game up, as you see. We've got some official backgrounds, an official name for our hangout. We've got an official guest this week. Welcome, Jen.
Hi.
Welcome, Jen.
Our moderator with the mostest.
The guest who doesn't leave.
What'd you say?
I said I'll be the guest that never leaves.
Absolutely.
The guest star that becomes a regular.
Welcome, welcome. And we've got Carmen, our fearless leader, Miss Mary Bloyd, and Miss Deb Scott on our panel today. We've got lots of fun stuff to talk about, all centered around my fave and yours, Can Yaman. Want to start with the news, or should we save it for the end? What do you think?
Oh, temptation.
I know you have stuff to say.
What a way to start. I think we leave it till the end.
You want to start with it?
No, let's leave it till the end.
She's going to leave them hanging.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to call on Miss Deb Scott. What do you got for us this week?
All right. I wanted to talk about, in the effort to pull our audience in with us, I spoke to a lady named Kay, and she watched the last show, and so she had a comment that I will have be our topic this week. And the comment that she was waiting for last week was, what has this romance be so addicting? Because it is. What has it be something that we just can't let go of? And
in terms of it, and we're talking about her Kenzie Kush right now, the romance between John and Sanem.
Right, John and Sanem. And there's a whole, I don't want to get into the real, which was where she was going, how we loved this couple so much that we couldn't accept that was just acting, because, the acting was so good, it really drew us in. So what we wanted to talk about was, what makes this such an epic romance? Was it the script? The script bounced all over the place with different writers. The acting was phenomenal between John and Sanem. The chemistry was phenomenal. There was a lot that played out with the music. I was wanting to play some clips of the music tonight, but it messed up my microphone and made it squealy, so I don't think I can actually. Rhonda might be able to play some of the music, but the music from White Wolf, they do a lot of the dizzies. They did Bayanlish as well. But the music would come on, and before anything happened, it set the mood and it drew you in, whether it was John's music, whenever he entered in slow motion. I really dig the slow motion scene. I'd like a slow motion button in life. But wouldn't that be fun? Pause, change the channel. I digress. So the music, I felt, had a lot to do with it. And back to their acting, I said last week, I believed them when they were like just new to each other and falling in love. I believed them when they were all the angst. I believed them when they were really angry with each other. Man, it sucked me in, and I was in love, I was heartbroken, I was all of the scenarios in between. And I felt like the writing did so much with scenes, the near kisses, the nose kisses, the almost kisses, the interrupted kisses. I could probably put together a couple hours of shows, of just the almost kisses. We love that angst of
is it going to happen? Isn't it going to, what's going to happen?
Get there,
right.
Get there, go.
And the disappointment. And there's something about never letting us have more than 5 minutes of a beautiful romance before it comes crashing down again. And I always say, I really feel like we could tolerate a couple episodes of just like romance and a beautiful story, but the ratings do show that we have to throw water on it and start over again. So I just feel like there were so many ups and downs and ins and outs and almost and some of the dream scenes. I felt like the show could have gone forever because of that romance. I feel like this could go down, like if the world got a hold of it, it could go down as one of the great, Pride and Prejudice. If we could get into a novel, I think it would be one of the greats. I felt like it was epic, and I'm all over the place because there's so much to pull in on the show. So let me ask you ladies, what is it that had you so taken with this romance?
I'll say, I think you hit on a good word just now when you said epic, and it is one of those stories that you would consider one of the all-time great love stories, because even as you said, you never really got more than an episode or a part of an episode where they had consistently happy, smooth rides going on. But even in the moments when there was trouble for them, when they were fighting, when people were pulling them apart, the way it was written, you got to spend so much time with each individual character and within their thoughts and watching them, that you could see that the love was always there. Their eyes never strayed towards other people. No matter how angry they were with each other, they still had this just undeniable pull to each other. So, and also, like you said, the ratings show that, the good and the bad, you need that up and down to appreciate the good. You have to see how difficult it is for them to be apart, because it makes you root for them and it makes you see that they absolutely do have to be together.
You're absolutely right, Jen. That was that constant pull. The differences in the way they were raised, John, as his character, was raised in boarding school almost, and heartbroken that his mother had left him and taken Imre and left. And his father was busy, and John's character realized that he had to kind of go on his own and let his father go and let his brother go. And then he went on his own and became this real loner, out on his own on wild places doing photography and all the travel and all of that. But to see him just come face to face with something as beautiful, pure, innocent, sweet as the character of Sanem, that he could not help himself. He had to pursue that love. He had to go through all of that to try and win her. Mm-hmm. And against her parents, against, all of the odds that we all know from watching the show, all of the deception, the lies that Imre forced Sanem to take on. And, but still, they never lost that draw, that potential for, we've got to fight for this. There's something here. They didn't even, it seemed at first, know what to call it even. Mm-hmm. Because for her, an innocent girl from the neighborhood, this was an experience beyond what she might have ever even dreamed of as she dreamed of being a writer. Mm-hmm. This was a flesh and blood man of intense proportion that came swooping into her life, and can you imagine? Oh, a great love story, just an awesome love story that just goes on and on. We never tire of seeing it. That's how it got to me.
And it does seem to be the impossible pairing. You know, and they use different ways to bring that in. The albatross and the peaky bird, you know, the I forget the name of the little bird they called her to begin with. They changed it.
The early bird. Right.
And, you know, the poor girl from the neighborhood and the eccentric rich guy. In many different ways, the pairing was impossible. The interference of the families drove me crazy.
Oh, me too.
My gosh.
Oh, that's the Turkish Disney world, that interference from the, quote, elders.
Is it just the Disney world, or is it really that way? I feel like they represent what really is happening in the culture. Otherwise, I mean, it's like a constant in every single Disney. So I would guess that that's, you know, part of the culture as well. But Deb, what I wanted to say was, you at the beginning mentioned how we couldn't just accept that it was just acting. But I'm of the school of thought that it wasn't just acting. I feel like the reason it was so compelling was that we really were watching the actors fall in love, and the chemistry was so dynamic and unique. Plus the story as well, and the writing. I think it all just came together, came full circle. But I don't know.
I agree. I feel like it was such a beautiful story that I actually fell in love with these characters. Not like I could separate myself from it being a show. I actually fell in love with that part of my brain that does that. And I don't think I'll ever let the story go for that reason alone.
I agree. I fell in love with lots of things in that show. And I think if I was a master of, you know, putting people together, I would probably pair these two together as well. As human beings, as the energy they have for each other, their compatibility physically and dynamically as well, just that incredible chemistry that he even quoted. So I totally agree with you, and that is, you fell in love with more than just the characters, or at least I did. I fell in love with them as people. I fell in love with them as people, them as characters, and them as couple. Now, whether that was real or not real, for me, that was three loves intertwined into one. And at some point, I think it was so intense, you couldn't actually differentiate whether you were actually watching a reality show, whether you were watching episode whatever number, whether this was scripted. Was this just them running off the cuff? Were they just sneaking in a kiss and the director just said, don't bother cutting it? All of it became like this amazing magic that I would tune in every single day, or at least every week live, Turkish time, even despite the language barrier, to just watch it. And for me, I think that was magic. Whether that was planned or not planned, or whether that was just something that happened to the both of them, where they both looked at one another and said, we're going on this journey and there's no regrets, there's no looking back. It was really quite phenomenal to watch. It was really powerful. It was powerful. And to this day it continues to be powerful. And it's hard to get over that sort of magic. It's really difficult. It's really
I hope I never get over it. I hope, I will keep the story and take it with me throughout life. I loved it that much.
It'll be like one of your favorite books that you never, go too long without reading It's something that, you know, you're going to maybe not sit down and watch entire episodes, but you're always going to seek out on any given day a clip or a fan video or someone's fan fiction because you want to explore it a little bit more. And it's just something that you can't get completely out of your system because it's become so a part of your everyday life.
Yeah. So I did a little road test on this because I thought, well, clearly I'm just one of these helpless romantics, right? I put myself in that category, but I decided to step out and think, let's put someone in that doesn't really get, you know, carried away, who's lived a little, who's seen a lot of love stories, who perhaps isn't as in love with this fine young man. So I gave a Kenchi Kush to my mother. And she's an elderly lady, and I thought, well, we'll see how she gauges it. She's either going to switch it off on episode 2 and tell me that I'm just, you know, you're hopeless, or we'll see what happens. And my mother absolutely fell in love with this show, and she's been around and watched a lot of love stories in her time, both in real life, both on screen, some of the greatest love stories. You know, movies like Gone with the Wind and, you know, classics like still there, still powerful. And she could not get enough of her Kenchi Kush. She binge watched it. She cancelled appointments to doctors because she was up at 5 in the morning because she could not stop watching it. She had an internet issue at around episode 32 that I never heard the end of because she almost wanted me to leave work and come and fix it. So, you know, 2 or 3 people could possibly be love struck, but millions?
Millions.
It's funny that you bring up your mom because I watched with my mom, and she's always teased me all my life from when I was a small child, whatever I got into, I was super into. Like, I would wear out videotapes, right, when you still had VCRs and it was actual tapes. She'd have to rebuy them because I would watch them so many times. And she was more the type where she would watch a movie or a TV show and she would enjoy it, but that was it. She's also not always the most internet savvy with YouTube and Instagram and things like that. She was and is just as enamored with this show as I am, to the point where I'd be upstairs because we live in the same house, and I'd say I hear her watching it again. I'd come downstairs. She learned how to search for videos on YouTube. She now can never rewatch enough, and this is a woman who used to tease me like, you know, all my life, you're rewatching that again, you're rereading that book, you're going to the same play how many times? But if it's your Kenchi Kush, she cannot see it enough times repetitively. And again, like you're saying, my mom's, you know, obviously not as old as yours probably, but, you know, she's married 40 years. She's, you know, not the obsessive type, but there's something about this show that she can't let go of either.
And I want to extend a little more and say there's something about this man. You know, off the back of it, Kenchi Kush, and my mother watched 52 episodes in very little time, whereas I had to endure 52 weeks. That's the pain of watching Turkish life. She immediately wanted to know what the next show was. Like, what's next? I want to see more. So she's now, I think, on series number 3, where she's watching him. And she just thinks he's amazing. Such a connection. And that's really, really amazing, I think.
I think so as well. And I have a following of so many women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, some in their 80s, you know, and these are classy women that are not easily, they're swooning over the stories. I just find it special in a way that reaches such a broad audience. And that's a pretty rare thing in itself, to reach such a broad audience across the globe.
I'm in New Jersey, and I got one of my coworkers. He was a 25-year-old man. He's from Jamaica. He immigrated here. He was working, and he was looking for recommendations on shows to watch. So I gave him a bunch of Netflix shows, and then I threw this one out at him. I said, look for it on YouTube, as a joke, never expecting that this young man, was going to make it past the first half hour, especially because, there's the subtitles and it's tedious for some people. I mean, he watched it all the way through. He binged it in less than a month, probably. And it was the same thing. It wasn't the reaction or the experience that, we as women had, but there's something about this story and the characters. And it was interesting to hear his perspectives, because I don't know many men who have watched it, on the stories and the characters and their interactions. But it's universal. Once you watch this, there's something that just doesn't let you go. You can't not finish it.
Mm-hmm.
I found that in my speaking with people of that too, in older established men, Navy SEALs, that really blew me away, that there are men watching it who are in their 50s and 60s and men of the world, and they're not only just watching the show, they're talking about it. They're digging into the fan fiction on the pages, and they're every bit as into the show and into conversations as many of the women I know, and that surprises the heck out of me. I tell them all the time, when I hear from them, I'm like, are you real? Like, is this really real? Are you pulling my leg?
Really?
Because it's shocking to me.
It is.
That men are this into it. Like, I'm like, you show me where you're sitting down and watching the show. But to read fan fiction, for heaven's sakes, it blows my mind. It really does.
That takes it to a whole nother level.
It's surprising.
It does. It shocks me.
Yeah.
I guess a little bit lends in a way to Divot being a style icon. I wonder, like, what degree do these men that are interested are looking at the story versus Divot as the wanting to be like him or look like him, or
dress like him.
And that is not far-fetched. I've seen some stories of some men who took it, to everything from the hairstyle to the clothes and the tattoo and everything.
And the jewelry,
The jewelry, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Quite distinctive. He set a trend there. I mean, that was a fashion that no man had ever brought out in that way, and he wore it so naturally. When he worked so hard to put that character together. Everything from his physical body to the hair, to the clothes, to the jewelry, to the boots, to the everything. Just phenomenal.
The leather jackets.
Yes.
Yes.
All of his jackets and the coats and
the sweaters.
And it felt authentic.
It did.
totally authentic. Yes.
That this is who this character, this is what he would wear, this is something that he would have found, in this part of the world. This is a ring he would have bought here. It was genuine and authentic. It wasn't, you believe that this is what this man would have been wearing and why.
Yeah. And clever men out there who are savvy and are looking at this as not only just a romance that they enjoy, but also a bit of a, let me see what all the noise is about, why all the women looking that direction, will certainly be modelling themselves, because we are all models for each other in so many ways. And I think, Jean put so much thought into this character that he knew it would resonate with women instantly, but he also knew it would resonate with men, So there you go. And hence why, right here, right now, he is, a model for one of the biggest shirt companies in that region.
He is an alpha male without being aggressive about it.
Without being toxic.
Exactly. Yeah. He's just so intense and so much of everything. I don't even know how you describe that, but he's got such a presence that he doesn't even need to work at it. I mean, it's just, he was born with it, and he's just walking into it, growing into it, making it really more and more him as he goes along. He's a phenomenal person.
Are we talking about David or Yaman?
Yaman.
We're actually talking about both because he owned that, and he actually said that there was a beautiful interchange between the character and himself. And I think he saw that as he continued after a Kenshi Kush to still be wearing the jewelry, still be wearing the hairstyle, still be wearing the swag as he went around Europe and etc. So he kind of got it. It was very intuitive of him. And I've seen a lot of Turkish dizis where actors will finish a role and almost immediately they will have a change of physique, whether they have a haircut or they step out of character, they shed that character immediately. Whereas he was so intuitive and so sensitive to the fandom and to those that really loved Erkenci Kush that he continued to just honour that. Okay, he didn't just say this was a role and I'm done with it and I've shelved it. He continued to put out there by him owning it and walking with it to say, this meant a lot to me. I know this means a lot to you. I will have to let it go because parts of my life will take precedent, like my military. But until then, I've loved it as much as you love it. And I think that's where that magic was. Again, character, real person. And the lines in between, I tell you.
Very blurry.
I've stayed up at night thinking about those lines in between.
They do blur.
He does appreciate so much the impact on his fans, like no celebrity I've ever seen. Do. I mean, he embraces the love that they send him and he gives it right back. He holds nothing back. You know, it's a child, a woman, a man, an older woman, a younger woman. You know, he's there for everyone. I feel he's there and offers himself in the same way.
Yes, in a way that most, as you're saying, almost any other actor, actress, celebrity, they don't do that. They keep some type of wall or veil, you know, where you don't get that true connection. But you see that when he interacts with his fans, it really is a genuine, real connection for those moments that they're together.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, we've kind of, you know, segued into, out of a Kenshi Kush into more about him. But what I like about that continuity is that sensitivity, that organic love that was experienced in Kenshi Kush continues to this day because he's so sensitive to the audience. You know, if we're happy, he's happy, and a lot of the time he'll reflect that and he lets us know that he's happy. You know, if we're hurting, he's hurting, and vice versa. And that's just this beautiful seesaw of actor fandom. And that relationship is so incredibly special that it's why we're still here.
It's so right.
Really why we're here, you know. And honestly, I'm yet to experience it with any of the other actors that I have grown to admire over the years who are super fabulous, except they are actors. And there's a demarcation line which tells me they're actors.
Yes.
Whereas with Jean, it tells me he's an actor, possibly could be my friend. He's also someone that you could share a chocolate with. He's just so many things to so many people. That's why we're still here.
It's something I really, really respected about him. In the beginning, that massive fandom scared him. And the way he dealt with it was to throw himself into the throngs of it and to where his last interview, I heard him say, you know, it scared him to begin with, and now he couldn't be without it.
Yeah.
So I love somebody who takes life on like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas some people would have drawn back, limited access that fans had to them, gone out with a lot of security, really put distance, not interacted at all. He, like you said, just threw himself into it and built up that comfort level. And now he's, as Mary said, unlike any other celebrity. There are very few. He's rare. And it's because he conquered that fear that you talk about.
Yeah.
Great topic.
He just understood, I think, in a real way that he has a gift and he can give it to people and he can make a difference in their lives. Mm-hmm. And I think that's terribly important to him because he was raised to be a friend, to be generous, to care about people, and to step outside of himself like that. It is just a phenomenon that we may never see anyone again that does that. And, you know, who's not going to give back to that? You add to it all the stories that he's told in his various series. And then our Kanchi Kush just took it over the top, the Jean Devitt character. He just keeps putting himself out there, and he gets so much back because it's so real, it's so honest, it's so straightforward and direct. You know, you see many actors or actresses that will give kind of canned remarks, if you will. To have someone come out to them like he did, particularly when he went to Rome, and would walk out into the crowds and just let them surround him. And, you know, there was probably a lot of touching going on that was not particularly maybe the most, you know, a little bit personal. But he never drew back. You know, you never saw a sneer on his face or pushing anyone away. That's just a phenomenal attitude of heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Such a big heart. And that's another reason why I find such respect for him. It hasn't been an easy road. It hasn't, you know, there was a big falling out after Kanchi Kush, and there was a lot of backlash and a lot of slander. And most people that I know would have then withdrawn and given up, or at least pulled away. And he speaks loudly. I said that last week. He, you know, if he has to say it with the writing on his clothes, he silently speaks very loudly, but he stays engaged. He doesn't give up. He doesn't quit. And I have immense respect for that.
Yes, me too.
I recall in one of the recent interviews, he actually said that he considered quitting, but the thought of the changes that he was making in other people's lives really mattered to him. And so I thought that was very profound of him to even acknowledge. Hey, if you guys don't mind, I want to dip into the comment section because we've got some good ones from our watchers. Miss Doris Johnson said, Ken has the rare ability to insert bits and pieces of his own personality and character to make the role he is portraying his own, and only his, such as no other could portray it.
I agree.
Great comment.
Yeah, nice comment. I agree.
Deb Spencer said he can introduce me to a new country, traditions, people, actors, and so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Paula said, I binge watched it in 9 days and nights, and I left all of my favorite movie series behind for good.
Good girl.
She would message me every day and say, oh, this happened, that happened. And I would say, wait a minute, how are you on that episode? That's, you know, where I left you at 11 o'clock last night, you were on episode, 5. You're talking about episode, 11 now. And she'd say, I didn't sleep. I watched all the way through.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and
that's
then she started
amazing.
it right over.
We should do a poll of who watched the entire series and what time.
Yeah, how long it took.
And declare a winner.
I feel like Paul is going to be hard to beat.
And no cheating, no rewinding. No
I have the old messages as proof for her.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Rada, is there any more questions?
No more questions from the audience. I know that we did a little bit in the divot, and I kind of wanted to reserve that for next week, because I know that Joanna is taking a deep dive into divot. And
we'll go there again.
Always able to revisit.
Yeah. Jen, what did you bring this week? I know that you were going to touch on divot, but changed your mind, and what are we going to do now?
We flipped around the topics a little bit and kind of changed the week so that there'd be more variety, because mine and Mary's topics were going to overlap a little bit. So I decided to pose a question that I had been, kind of stashing away for future Hangouts. And I was thinking we always see posts, especially in the forums, and we talk to each other about which actresses we want to see him paired up with, right? Because you always immediately think, who's he going to look good in a romantic pairing with? Which actress is he going to look good with? Who will he have good chemistry with? But I'm interested in what Turkish actors we'd all like to see him act against. And what made me think of it, and Mary, you'll appreciate this, was because I was watching some clips the other day, just randomly on YouTube, right? You click on one thing and it leads you here and there. And I fell on Karadaye, which I'm halfway through watching. I haven't finished it, but I've seen enough 50, 60, 70 episodes to have been impressed with the actor who plays Mahir's father. I don't know if I'm going to say his name right, Çetin Tekindor. He's done a lot of series, Karadaye, Asi, tons of movies, tons of television series. Very, very well respected, very established. And I was thinking, what I like in particular in the role in Karadaye, he takes the time when he's in a scene with someone to really let the scene breathe. The other actor presents their piece of dialogue, they say what they have to say, and he doesn't always go right back at it. You see him kind of sit and absorb what's being said and really live it. He gives the scenes, like as directors say, time to breathe, and that makes it so alive and so genuine. And a lot of times it's very subtle, which I have found John to do as well in his own acting. A lot of times he's not. Some of his best scenes are not where he's over the top or yelling or even over the top in terms of love and romance. A lot of his performance is very internal and nuanced and subtle and done through glances and seeing emotions kind of wash over him. So I thought that would be an interesting pairing to see what those actors would bring out in each other in a performance. So I was wondering if anybody has an actor, a Turkish actor, that they'd like to see him paired with.
Well, I do. I'm new to the Dizzy thing. I've only seen all the way through Erkenci Kuş and Bayanlish, but I have also seen Kıvanç in many things, and I find him to be a fascinating actor. I've just seen clips of his shows, but I know that Kıvanç is very well respected and very well established, and so I feel like the pairing between the two of them would be very interesting to witness. So that would be my first choice.
Mm-hmm. And he's the original, the first Turkish actor that I was introduced to. That's how I started on this whole Turkish journey 3.5 years ago. And I agree, he's very dynamic, and his acting style is different from John's, but he does completely melt into his characters as well, the same way that John does, where you really feel that he's living and breathing these characters. So like you're saying, to see them on screen together, I think would be a dynamic pairing.
I really like pardon me, Carmen, go ahead.
No, I don't. I can't at the top of my head think of an actor that I'd like him with, but I am trying to rattle through and think quickly on my feet. But I just want to draw attention to some of the pairings that I would never have imagined have worked so magically. And that is, you know, the pairing of him and Anil. I mean, I could watch those two forever. And if you'd asked me that question, I would have actually probably told you you're nuts if you had offered me that pairing. So sometimes I think, you know, there's an element of surprise. And, that's a pairing that I would definitely have never, ever put together.
That's a pairing I'd like to see on a reality show. Right? Could you imagine
no, seriously, I love their caravan hangouts.
Yes. Yeah, like behind the scenes. Yeah.
I watched them a couple of times, plus 1,000 times maybe.
Perhaps, give or take.
I would, thinking of one of my favorite actresses, who I recently wrote an article about, Zarin Tekandor. She's an incredible artist. If any of you don't know that, she's an incredible painter, a theater artist as well as a film actress. But, you know, she and Kavanch paired together or were in the same series in so many different things, Oski Memu being, you know, one of the big ones in my view. But the way she comes across as a mother, as an aunt, as an older woman, that's a friend, I would love to see her paired with Can Yaman. I think that would be a magical kind of synergy that would bring some real interest to different characters. You know, she could be his mother, a teacher, a professor, an artist. He could be, you know, who knows? But I love her. She's so unobtrusive, but yet she gets her point across, and the subtlety with which she does that, I think, would be a very nice match with Can Yaman.
Yeah, she's a very good actress. I agree with you. She's phenomenal. An incredible theatre actress. And I noticed that even with the character of Levant, and he himself as an actor is a trained theatre actor. Fabulous. Like, really beautiful. Like, really good.
And John kept up with him. They had a good back and forth, which, you know, theater actors are used to. You know, you could be in a play for 6 weeks, 6 months, and even though it's the same play every night, they do, you know, try to keep it living in the moment. So you could tell in scenes that every time they shot by Amish, I'm sure he changed it up a little bit because he thinks on his feet. And John was always right there to react and take in what he was doing and give it back.
Yeah, it's good.
Going back to Chetan Tekandor, Jen, remembering how he was as Nasif for Mayur Kara in Karadai. As you said, he allowed every scene to breathe. Can you imagine him with Can Yaman in some kind of a father-son role, or a grandson role? That would be really fun.
Yes, that would be.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I know that John has said that he wants to stay in the romantic comedy genre until he's older. I've already got him cast with Ibo and Eris in some type of mafia joints. I think the three personalities would be very interesting to watch interact.
That would be. Ibo is so intense. You know, he's one of those dark types that just, you know, a look from him and you say, what did I do wrong? You know, he's very intense.
The interesting about John is he can pull that as well. We saw him pull that dark intensity so many times in Cruzy Q's.
Yes, absolutely.
Even in Bayanish we saw it.
Right.
Which one of his little episodes did trigger me a little bit. I was a little upset with him when he went off. But yeah, I would love to see Eris, Ivo, and Jean together in something, and it wouldn't even really have to be an intense drama. But I can't picture Eris and Evo doing anything other than that. So,
perhaps a film, not something even, a shorter form like a film or these shorter series now that are being produced.
Yeah. That's a great question.
That actually kind of segues a little bit into Mary, what your topic was going to be, right? In thinking of future projects.
Right, it really does. When I came into knowing Can Yaman with episode 31 of our Kanchi Kush. And then I started from the beginning. I can't match Paula, but I binged all 31 episodes to catch up with what was, then being aired.
Mm-hmm.
And I was amazed, astounded, hooked, gone, done. So going back to what Can Yaman has done before, all the way back to Badir in Ganul Isleri, however you say that, to see this very young looking man who looked like a kid, he looked like he was 17. And then to go on through Aina Dina Ashk, where he was this freewheeling, fun, energetic, Yalin Eris. And then, to Dolanai, where he was all buttoned up in suits and all of this. And then Arkanchi Kush, and then Bayanlish. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what couldn't the man do? I mean, so maybe he wants to stay in the romantic genre right now, the rom-com. That's fine. As he stated once, which I was surprised, because I never thought of it this way, was that people think it's easy to work in a rom-com, but actually to maintain a feeling of masculinity and manliness and all of that, it's a little harder than you think. So maybe he wants to stay there for now and do these other roles when he's older. But the way I see him, his physical strength, his physical presence, I could see him doing other roles than that might combine a little bit of both. And I'd like to know what you all think about what you think he could do now that would not be totally romantic comedy, but have an element of that, which he seems to really enjoy doing. But what do you think you'd like to see him play before he gets older and maybe goes more serious roles or whatever? What do you think?
I'd love to see him do something 007-ish because it's still romantic. It's, he's got some real skill. He really works on his skills as self-defense and fighting. And it kind of would bring it kind of all together, all of the, what he could do, fight and romance and a little sexiness here and there would be really fun. I think he could pull it off. As we were talking, gosh, I don't know much about like the Turkish military, but Top Gun-ish would be really fun too. Those flyboys get really out there too. So I don't know if there's anything he couldn't do, because I did see a lot of drama in Erkenci Kush. I loved the light flavor of Bayanlish, just fun and out there. But I saw enough drama out of him. I really don't think there isn't anything that he couldn't do.
I agree. I think he's done a lot of drama, and I know a lot of the shows kind of get titled romantic comedy, but I think of certainly Erkenci Kush runs more of what we would call in the United States dramedy, because it really wasn't, like to me, Love Actually, that's a romantic comedy. My Best Friend's Wedding, that's a romantic comedy. Erkenci Kush had so much, like you're saying, dramatic, emotional, angsty, deep scenes that to me, it was equal parts romance, comedy, and drama. So, like you're saying, there's really nothing that he can't do. He's shown that he can handle all of that.
Yeah.
I had in my mind immediately at the end of our Kanchi Kush and those three children, and they're getting to an age. They look. What would you think they looked at the end of our Kanchi Kush? Maybe 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to guess their ages. I projected in my head that he would, the way he loved to travel and the way Sanem wanted to go to the Galapagos and all of that, is that they, when their children are like 10 or 11 or 12, they travel the world on their boat, but they get into all kinds of adventures, and he's teaching the children how to take care of themselves, how to fight, how to survive. He's teaching them wilderness skills, if you will, and all of that, how to sail a boat. And, I projected in my head the whole story of him like an Indiana Jones, but having a wife and 3 children, with him at the time. I thought that would be fun because that could be funny, funny in parts, romantic in parts, and then just a great, adventure kind of story. That would probably be totally far-fetched, but, fun. So I could see him doing something like that, particularly then thinking of the scene on the island when he and Oscar and Ezgi were marooned on the island, I was thinking of that, and he could do anything. I mean, he could do anything. He could play a serious lawyer like Matthew McConaughey does in some of the playing Jake Brigance in some of the John Grisham films. Mm-hmm. He could do that. I mean, he's got that kind of presence and certainly the skills, but, he could do a lot of things. In 007, yes, ma'am, Miss Deb, 007, yes.
I'm kind of stuck on Flyboy now.
Oh, yeah. That does sound good. Yeah.
He's got the right haircut right now.
He does. Be perfect.
I had him cast in the Robert B. Parker series, Spencer for Hire.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that would be good too. Who would be his sidekick there, Retta?
We got to go with Ano for the sidekick.
Definitely.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be hysterical.
That would be too funny. Yeah, that would be great. Well, that was the thought that I had. So, anyway.
I have to put it out there and say that for me it would be something really raunchy, something that had to do with mafia and betrayal and affairs and really heart-stopping moments, like he's going to get bombed, he's going to get killed, he's not going to go off with her, all that all that has got me really going. Like
that would be awesome.
Yeah, Godfather's type.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
I want a series like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could be in New Jersey, Jen, don't you call them wise guys?
Yes,
the
wise
guys in the mafia.
Absolutely.
Wise guys.
Yeah.
He'd be a
straight
good
out of
wise
North
guy.
Jersey.
Yeah.
You guys,
and
Doris
such a step
Johnson
up
says
from
Can
Tony
Yaman
Soprano.
has a wicked sense of humor and cracks me up, along with putting a big smile on my face, which paired up with a meal is like adding a bit of whipped cream onto a sundae.
Love it.
That's a great comment.
Great.
Paula says, if John were ever to do a remake of a beloved movie, I'd like to see him in a new version of Roman Holiday in the Gregory Peck role. With a brand new actress in the lead. Well, I'm curious to know what actress, Paula. Anne Bradley Cohen says, I want to see a Turkish version remake of my favorite movie, The Quiet Man, with John, but not sure what leading lady.
He's got a brave future ahead of him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He can do anything, and we will watch it.
Yeah.
Right. What wouldn't we watch him in?
We'll watch him model shirts. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, that's the current status.
What the man does for a plaid shirt, mercy
pink.
on us. Good Lord. Phew.
Yeah. It's our current
Shirts are
status.
not Appalachia here. Maybe plaid shirts are cool.
Roman
Jennifer.
Holiday is stuck in my head now instead of Flyboy.
Ah,
To
Yeah.
see him on the scooter going around Rome, maybe with tuba. She's got the elegance and the grace of Audrey Hepburn.
wouldn't they be a pair? Wow, she's a little bit older than him, but she still looks fabulous. She's gorgeous.
She just has that quiet elegance.
Mm-hmm. That would be quite a pair, wouldn't it?
And he does a great job not being pegged in an age.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were brilliant on their Kenji Kush, not pegging him with an age. I don't think they ever mentioned it. And he looks so much older. And then Bayanlish comes and he is just like carefree and like 10 years younger. It's interesting to me how he, again, pulls off these characters and fills the role in his physical appearance. It's amazing.
He does. He transforms.
He's a
Well,
chameleon.
he can't do anything about those shoulders. I mean, those are wide and they're going to stay there. But, it'll be interesting to see his look in his next project.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we're getting a taste of it in these recent outings. We're seeing him trying all these different, I don't know if he's recovering from bad haircuts or just trying new things just for the fun of it, or maybe prepping for the next role. But we've seen some different looks in the last week or so, I think.
And he
shorter.
said after Kenji Kush, people would ask him, questions about his beard and different things, and he said, you forget once you're not on set every day where you have someone constantly,
Grooming you.
trimming and maintaining so that you look the same day after day. Now you have to go back to, doing your own hair, so yeah, you get a little bit more of, a difference every day.
Yeah, in some of the pictures lately, his hair looks really short.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably because no one is styling it in, what we're seeing on our background right now.
Well, I think he's had a haircut.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as that. I think he's had a haircut. And since he's not committed to any project, whilst he might have vision, he's just having a haircut. That's the normality of all of this. And this is why this is another reason why we're still here. We get to see for the first time, and many actors don't give you this privilege, even though there's Instagram and social media and all the rest of it. It is still very much guarded. We get to see that he's had a haircut. We can timeline this man by the haircut. I can tell you where he's been on photos by the haircut, and what time and what year and what month. It's how I search through my photos. So,
Yeah.
It's you don't get to do that with a lot of actors. They'll go underground for quite some time between projects, and then they emerge, and that's how they've lived. But not him, So it'll be a good thing to open up whenever we have news, because boy, there's a bit of news going around, girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we dive into the news, I have a bit of a little something different. I have a quiz for you ladies.
Okay.
There's
Pop
not enough
quiz.
of you to divide up into teams. Well, yeah, you could team up if you want to, but I'm just going to throw the questions out there and let's see who gets what right.
Okay.
Are we ready?
And
Ready.
audience can participate.
Audience can
Yes, answer in the comments.
Okay.
And also, credit goes to Paula Winans for pulling this quiz together, helping me out. I really appreciate you. Thanks, girl. Okay, first question. We all know John DeWitt was a super sportsman. In which pair of sports did Jean not participate in a Crimson Goose? A, skiing and tennis. B, kayaking and basketball. C, running and boxing.
Skiing and tennis.
Hey.
Yes, absolutely. It was A.
Are we meant to write this down and then we get whoever gets it right, or we just yell it out?
Just
I
throwing
think
them
we're
out.
good just winging it because I only have 4 questions. So
Okay. Okay.
We're good.
In the future, I want to get a bit more competitive, right? So
Get a big pad
Okay.
of our
We're going to
answers.
have to figure out how we're going to do this. All right.
Okay.
John tells Sanam he wishes he could have a voice inside her head. Where are they sitting when he says this? A, in a restaurant, eating by the Bosphorus Bridge. B, in his truck. C, in his kitchen.
I don't know.
He wished that he could have a voice inside his head.
No, be the voice in her head.
Inside
Remember
her head.
when
Be the voice in her head.
when she confessed the voice in her head that she sometimes
That she
the kitchen. The kitchen.
was it the kitchen?
No, that voice was always around.
Yeah, but where does he confess? In the kitchen?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Paula, where was it? Where did he? Is Paula still
Restaurant.
there? Is Paula typing?
Oh no, did she give these? She didn't give us the answers.
She did, but I'm slow. Okay,
I'll
she'll
say the
catch up.
kitchen. Okay,
Okay,
that one's
we'll catch up.
to be reviewed, to be
That was a good one.
revisited.
Okay, here's another one. John Devitt spends some of his evenings reading books. From which author does he not read? A, Emily Bronte. B, Charles Dickens. C, Kafka.
Dickens. He doesn't read Dickens.
Dickens.
Yeah,
I'll go with
I
Dickens.
I don't recall any Dickens. All right, last one. John Devitt made 2 drawings during a currency coup. Which of these was not a drawing he did? A drawing of a mermaid. B, a drawing of his father. C, a drawing of Sanem.
His
father.
Yeah. Good girls.
Woo!
I think you got it.
Was
Who
it
won
the
that
kitchen?
round? Huh?
Was
Did we
it the
get an answer
kitchen?
to the kitchen?
Let's see if we can get Paula to clarify. Paula says it was the truck.
Ah,
Oh, bugger.
but it could have been the kitchen, right?
It
Well,
could
they
have been the
talked about
kitchen.
they certainly talked about her voice everywhere, right? It could have been any of them.
I was going to
Right.
say, I remember them having that conversation more than a few times.
I wish they did more in that kitchen, just quietly speaking.
Yeah.
Quiet as it's kept. All right. So what? Drum roll. Can we get some news? Can we get some updates?
Oh,
some
some
tea?
good
What you got,
news.
Carmen?
Good news. It's never, ever a slow day at the Yamans, let me tell you. And just as predicted, there is a whole bunch of news around what is his lifestyle, what is he up to, why is he out every night, who is he dating, and why isn't he wearing a mask? Well, so I'm just going to put it out there because I will follow this by a long-ass post, okay? Can Yaman is a 30-year-old young single man who has always enjoyed and has stated that in between his work schedule, which we all know is hours upon hours, he likes to have his downtime. This is his downtime. He actually is a bit of a night owl. He says that himself. He's not a morning person. His night fires up probably at around 11 p.m. and continues till early hours. The man goes out. It's a very Istanbul lifestyle. For those of us who don't live in Istanbul, this is what trendy young people do. They go out of an evening, usually after dinner, and they go and have a drink at their favourite hangout. There's lots of people out there who are now starting to take offence to a lot of the photos that are coming out because they're with different women. There's a lot of judgment out there, and the fact that he continues to photograph and be just as generous with his time is just a little bit alarming because, you know, lots of people take photographs with each other in nightclubs. You know, there's certainly nothing sinister about that. And those women are young, respectable women who some are visiting Istanbul and some are locals. And as you may have seen, some of them are celebrities, footy, there was the commentator a few days ago from his favourite footy club. But who noted that? Did anyone catch that? He took some photos with her, Becca Stars, I think it's called. So there's lots of things that, at the moment are flying around that his career will be affected because of his nightclub ways, rubbish. That Netflix won't pick him up because he has a questionable nightlife, rubbish. I don't think Netflix is looking at his nightlife, okay?
Yeah.
They're looking at his talent.
Yeah.
And if people stop for one moment and stop dragging all of this into the forefront and not paying attention to what he does so marvellously, we would probably be way ahead of ourselves. Certainly it won't dent his career. It is an acceptable lifestyle. Is he dating anyone? No. And if he is, guess what? You're never going to know because he's never going to tell you because that's what he's always been, okay? So not every woman that he takes a photograph with he's going to be dating, and that's just a whole lot of garbage. Now, the other news that came past was that, he was going to do an Akenchi Kush type series with Demet, and once again, that's rubbish. The two of them are not going to be together for quite some time, if ever, in a series as professional partners. Let me tell you that Faruk Turgut is just as clever at watching the social media space as much as Yaman and many others in his inner circle. And they would categorically know that if they were going to pair the two of them together right here, right now, whatever show they put their heads to, it would be a flop because the fandom would make it a flop. Okay? There are that many people who really don't want, him to star with Demet for whatever reason, their own personal, that they've jumped on whatever bandwagon, that the actual show would probably not be as successful as it should be. So he's not going to do a show. They continue to grow as actors. Demet has a wonderful career. She's in drama. She's going fabulously where she has chosen to be, and he himself has got a fabulous road ahead, and the two of them are not going to be paired anytime soon, so I'm sorry about that. Many will think I hope you're wrong, Carmen, and hey, we'll wait and see. But right here, right now, it's not happening. Other news, he continues to surprise us with Mubby photos. If you haven't picked up the pattern as yet, it's every 2 days. We get one. Every 3, we get a new shirt. The highlight was, and this is what I love, and this is what we covered, and that is he's so intuitive, and so are those around him. They listen to the fandom. So we had a wonderful Q&A done by tutors, and I posted some of that in our fandom about what the direction of that collaboration and partnership is all about. Good news for all of us that don't live in Turkey, you'll be able to have a global shop when they open that up. That'll be so cool. You can buy your favourite flannel shirt and wear that to bed or wherever you like, I guess. And also a new commercial's coming out. If you didn't pick that up, there was actually 2 commercials that were shot and only one was ever screened. So I expect that there would be a fall's commercial, a fall being we're going into the fall season. So the fashion seasons are summer and fall. Mm-hmm. So I suspect that'll come out very shortly. I'd love a man in skivvy. Oh my God, does he rock a skivvy? Seriously. I cannot wait for him to have some scarves and just the winter gear on him is just going to rock. So that's probably it in a nutshell. A little bit of rumour around Italy, again around Mr. Ozpetek. He's announcing and ramping up things with his upcoming movie, and he continues to tag Jean in a lot of his posts. So that's an indication that, things are being considered if they're not signed and sealed. That's just another way of just adding a little bit of flavour and just keeping us in the loop. It's the subtle things on social media is where you find your truth and your gold. That's all for me.
Well,
That's a lot. Bravo.
Any questions from anybody?
What is the concern, or rather not what is the concern? I'm concerned, I know many people are, that Can Yaman is going out without a mask and he's in close proximity to people.
He's not going out without a mask. He's being photographed without a mask. So I think what people need to realise very quickly is you're looking at a one-dimensional millisecond in that evening, right? He's taken his mask off for a photograph. He probably is wearing a mask at that venue. No one's filming him with the mask. A lot of folks, if you look at some footage that's come out of Ruby, which sort of takes the camera and spans it around, you'll notice that there is masks. In fact, there was a photo of him a couple of days ago, and right between his feet was not a napkin, but an actual black mask. So Turkey has mandatory mask wearing. You must wear a mask. He's not exempt from that. Okay, so again, there's also an element, guys, of, you know, you have to live within a certain risk. Otherwise, you can honestly just, you know, get into this mentality that everything you touch and everywhere you go, there is a danger. I'm sure he safeguards himself the best way that he can, as we all do. But again, just the photograph is a millisecond of one-dimensional. You know, he's got his arm on her bra strap. He's got his arm here on her waist. Like, seriously, you know, it's out there. It really is. But
and there's split seconds, especially in photographs, you know.
Yeah,
that's 1 second. It just happens to be when the shutter closes, so to speak.
Yeah, you can build a whole story out of a 1 second frame if you wanted to, right or wrong. So there you go.
Speaking of masks.
No way.
That's way cool.
I got this as a gift. Thank you, Josie. I know you're watching. But how cute is this?
Let's see that again. Oh, that is darling. If you have to wear it, have fun with it. Oh, that's cool.
So cool.
Really sweet.
So, Rado, is it really an opportune time to mention, since we've got that mask, about our current campaign? Do you want to just touch on that just very quickly?
Yes, we are running a very special campaign that was first shared by Can Yaman on social media. We're supporting a little boy named Pamir. Am I saying it correctly? Pamir?
Correct. Yeah.
He's dealing with a muscular dystrophy issue. He's 20 months old and he lives in Turkey. And we've been offering T-shirts, mugs, masks, doggy T-shirts in the very near future with a very special design that's really inspired by Mr. Yaman. And this is a fan effort all over the fandom, but particularly with the T-shirt sale in our forum that is going very well. The first night, the first 24 hours, I think I think the numbers are shown on the campaign itself. I'll just say we did very well, and I'm looking forward to the next 5 days. The campaign will last a total of 5 days. So the thought is that if you can get your order in the next 5 days, that you quite potentially would have your shirt by John's birthday. And we wanted to do a little something. We got a little something special planned for birthday weekend coming up. So if you can manage to participate in the t-shirt sale, that would be wonderful. So far, it's just in our group. So if anybody needs help with orders or has questions, I'm available. Just message me. You'll catch me in Messenger a lot easier than trying to tag me inside the group. Just message me if you need help or have questions.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to note there's a lot of options. There's 2 different picture options in terms of color, and then there's multiple options for the shirt as well. So, you know, for the pink picture or the blue picture, then you have multiple crew neck or V-neck t-shirts, and those are each available in different colors in terms of the shirt. And I've seen everything from like extra small, I think, up to 3 or 4X. So there's a wide range that you can really, you know, customize it to exactly the type of shirt that you want. I saw some people saying they were going to order them a little bit bigger and wear them as night shirts. There's the mugs now and the masks, which were not up the first night, but I was quite surprised and placed another order this morning as soon as I woke up and saw they were there.
Yes,
so
they're releasing different items slowly but surely. So next few days there might even be a tote in there and some other stuff. But one very important thing I wanted to touch on was the fact that this platform is amazing in that it allows for 100% of all the proceeds to go directly to Paymir and his legal guardian. So there's no in between. The money goes straight to them in Turkey. So just to alleviate any concerns about, I know, you know, some fundraising platforms take a, you know, hefty percentage, but they're very fair. And of course there's platform fees, but they're very minimal, and everything else goes to the family. So that's very important.
And I think we mentioned we have a little surprise, right? We might be doing a surprise for one lucky member if everybody lets us know who's made a purchase. I think we might be doing a drawing at the end and surprising. So you get your shirt, and then you have the chance to get a little bonus as a thank you. We're not telling you what it is.
It's exciting though.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So what else have we got that's exciting? I know we've got some bomb stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. So
can we talk about the thing where we might ask for potential guests to come on with us? Can I mention that?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can.
Okay. All right. So in a couple of weeks, the weekend, the Saturday the 7th, what we're planning to do is a rewatch of the Crimson Hughes. But we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to do it live, Hangout style. And we want to offer the opportunity for anybody watching, anybody in the group that would like to, of course we have to cap it at a certain amount of people, but we're looking for some animated people to be on with us who would make the watch interesting and fun and engaging. So wanted to put that out there. We'll be voting on which episode here in the next few days.
So Paula's going to do a poll. There'll be a poll on the forum.
Yeah. So we got some fun stuff coming up, and I'm super excited about everything that's happening so fast too.
Yeah, so come and play, have a good time, interact. It'll just be a great way to share the love.
Yeah. So if you're one of those people like me, and anyone that's ever watched a live show with me will know that I am an absolute nightmare to watch live shows with. I talk, I scream, I jump up and down. I will not let you get a word in. In the meantime, I'll do a tweet, I'll do a face post, and I might even do a quick edit. So if you're one of those people, you're my type of tribe, get on this, because you need to be on this live watch. Tamama.
It's going to be a
lot of fun.
I heard mention of wine and chocolates. I don't know. We're gonna work that in, but
yeah, I think we need some snack themes. Wine, chocolate,
dark chocolate,
dark chocolate.
Seeds, 70%. If you want to crack seeds and spit them out like a canary.
Feel really Turkish.
If you really want to submerge yourself, bring your chai to the game.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, jump on. It'll be really fun. It'll be very, very rewarding. It'll be great to reminisce and live those days that we lived for 52 weeks all together.
And we're going to do it multiple times.
Yeah, so this is not a one-off.
If you don't get on the first one and you want to and you see how much fun it is, you let us know for the next one. And everybody who wants to will have a chance to participate in terms of being on video during the live.
Yeah. Very exciting. Very cool.
So
Thank you, Father.
You're welcome. You guys reach out to any of Carmen or any of the moderators in the group, and we're happy to get you signed on.
Yeah.
So,
there we go.
Does that wrap it up?
And I think it wraps it up. Is there anything from the audience? Anyone want to question anything? Ask anything? Comment?
Doris said, ordered my shirt yesterday with a donation. Shirts are to be processed on 11/4, but not sure when they will be being produced and shipped from. Okay. We'll clarify that for you, Miss Doris. We'll find out. So far, I don't see any other questions. Doris says, let the good times roll. Sounds like an amazingly grand event. Paula says, so glad everyone watched and participated tonight. Can't wait till we meet again. And on that note, it was fun, guys. Glad to see you again.
Good to see you.
Thanks for joining us.
What'd you say, Deb?
Thanks for joining us out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope you had as much fun as we did.
Great fun.
Thank you all. I really, really appreciate the love we all share each and every day.